So my name is SPHA. I had a mental breakdown. I was breaking stuff at home. I was having nightmares. I remember I would just go out, just run outside the street, and when a car would be coming, I'd just be facing the car thinking I'm this big untouchable thing, and the car wouldn't even do anything to me. I thought my grandmother was just going to the bathroom and coming back now, only to find out that I was now admitted. And then I was taken to a bed, and then they handcuffed my one hand. When I got to Stekfontein, that Indian guy suddenly woke up from his bed and quickly rushed to my bed and didn't waste any time and climbed on top of me and then started strangling me. To a point whereby I was now losing breath. I thought I was gonna die. Fortunately, there was this Zambian guy who had actually laid next to me. I guess it is true when they say talking heals, and it takes time for things to heal. So I was glad to be invited to this podcast, which is called Betrayal Chronicles, to share my story. So my name is SPHA, and I'm mostly known by my stage name, SPHA The Mastermind. I'm a poet, a creative, an actor, a painter, and also just a creative, an artist basically. So this is what took place. In 2016, I got an amazing job at Starbucks. Starbucks is a coffee shop from America that had just landed in South Africa in 2016. So I was part of those few people who had to open the first ever store in Starbucks there at Rosebank 2016. So it was such an amazing experience. I was afforded a chance to meet fellow baristas in the industry. I mean, I met this guy called Ishan, who's actually a master in the coffee industry. I mean, the coffee industry is very big and massive. I got a chance to meet people who come from humble backgrounds but came all the way from other provinces to Joburg to just start on greener pastures within the coffee industry. So when I got this job, it was so amazing. Now, I'm used to getting a lot of disappointments after disappointments in my life. So when Starbucks happened, instead of me celebrating this win, I actually started asking myself unnecessary questions like, why me? Do I even deserve this? And a whole lot of things. So because I couldn't accept this achievement that had actually taken place of me being part of Starbucks, I had a mental breakdown. And when I had a mental breakdown, I started doing things that are out of order. When I used to do the coffee, I would spill the milk there. I wasn't coping very well. I was even rude to my colleagues. I was not even treating customers well. The behavior was just out of line at that point in time. It even got to a point of whereby when customers would come, I wouldn't treat them well. When I would speak to my colleagues, I would actually break things. Things were just a mess. And then I remember this other day, my boss came and said, "Spamandla, you are not well, go home." And I was like, "No, I want to work." He says, "You are not well, go home." Then I went home. When I got home, I found my sister. My sister was shocked to see me having returned to work earlier than normal. And he asked, "What's happening, Spamandla? Why are you back?" And I told her that I wasn't feeling well. I was told that I'm supposed to go back here at home. And then my sister called my mother, and then my mother then rushed back from work and came. And when my mother came, my mother asked me why am I back early. I explained that I was told that I'm supposed to come back because I wasn't well. And I haven't been well because I was breaking stuff at home. I was having nightmares. I remember I would just go out, just run outside the street, and when a car would be coming, I'd just be facing the car thinking I'm this big untouchable thing, and the car wouldn't even do anything to me. So I was just doing abnormal things, if I were to say. I was doing crazy stuff, if I were to say, breaking stuff. So my brother was called because now this was getting out of hand. I remember this other time I took the TV and I just threw it down. And then they were like, "Spamandla, what are you doing? Do you know how expensive the TV is?" So there were lots of episodes that I did. And then my brother was called. When my brother was called, I got into my brother's car. I was in the front seat. I thought to myself, we are going to a park to just talk. When I got into the car, we went to the local clinic, which is called SPHA Clinic. When I got to SPHA Clinic, I went to a nurse, and then I was asked odd questions. What time is it? What color is this? I recall that the answers that I was giving were not corresponding. I mean, they would ask me, what day is it? I would say it's Friday while it's Monday. So I didn't know what's really happening. Then they took me out, then got back into the car, and then we drove. I thought to myself, we are done. I'm going back home, only to find out that the painful tour of hospital from one to the other had begun. Then we drove to Edenvale Hospital. When we were at Edenvale Hospital, I was with my grandmother there and my brother. And there I went to the doctor. The same process happened. I was asked those unnecessary questions to me. What time is it? What color is this? And then my answers were not corresponding again. Then we left, got into the car. I also think we are done. We are going home. Only to find out that the home we were going to was Charlotte Maxeke Hospital, mostly known as Joburg Gen. And then when I got there, we went to the reception. The reception asked what's going on, and my grandmother explained how that I wasn't feeling well, I was having nightmares, I was breaking things at home. And then I recall this very same word that changed my life. That reception lady said, you need to go to triage. And I was like, triage? And then we went to the elevator, took a lift, we went up. When we got up, we went to this ward called triage. That's where my life changed. When we got to triage, it's this ward for mentally unstable people. We got there was a lot of things that were happening. Doctors were pacing around, others were screaming, others were crying. There was this other guy who was in handcuffs, sleeping in bed, busy shouting. There was a lot of things that were happening there. As the doctor came to me, they did the blood pressure, and then they checked everything. They were asking what's wrong, and they explained this guy is not behaving well, breaking things at home. And then they said, go and sit there. I went and sat, and then I was sitting next to my grandmother. And then as I was sitting there, the psychologist came, of a white lady. And then when the psychologist came, she was asking me questions, what's happening. And then she even got to a point by asking me, what type of a person am I? My grandmother explained that I was an exceptionally excellent student, how that I was passing well at school, everything was well. Then all of a sudden, I was not feeling well, I was now sick. I wasn't a person who smoked or took any tobacco, dacha, marijuana, you name all of those substances. I didn't take any substances. I just had that mental breakdown at work. I told my grandmother that I'm hungry, and then my grandmother told the nurse that I'm hungry, and then they gave me a pie. For some odd reason, when I looked at that pie, I felt like I was looking at feces, amakaka. That was so bad. And then it even smelled like feces. I remember eating this and eating it smelling like that feces and all that. And then I was crying because I didn't understand what was happening. And I was very scared. The other male doctor came, tried to take bloods from me. The bloods couldn't come out. And then it was getting late. And then I was then left. My grandmother said, I'm leaving, I'm coming back. I thought my grandmother was just going to the bathroom and coming back now, only to find out that I was now admitted. And then I was taken to a bed, and then they handcuffed my one hand. And then I remember shouting, being angry to say, I don't want to be here, what's happening? And then on my left, there was this woman who apparently had had a miscarriage, judging from what that lady was saying. She had sat down there. She was also sick. She was imagining a baby. So she was sitting down there, holding air, thinking that there's a baby, say, tula nana, tula nana. And because I could tell that there's air here, you are holding nothing. I remember shouting to that lady, to say to that lady, there is no baby there, you are holding air, and you're even making noise for me. And then that lady replied and say, get off my nerves. I'm holding my baby who I need to give attention to. And then as I'm busy focusing on this old woman who's holding air that is not there, thinking it's a lady, it's a baby, there was this guy who's handcuffed both legs and both hands. He's speaking as though he's in the streets of Brooklyn. He says, yeah, my nigga, I'm the big thing here. I can kill everything. He's speaking like he's a holy man. In his mind, he's thinking he's in the streets of Brooklyn. I'm like, you are not in the streets of Brooklyn. We are in triage. We're in this mental institute, in this world where we are crazy, all of us. He's busy thinking that he's in the streets, and he's handcuffed both hands and both legs. And then I kept on shouting, because all of a sudden I now kept on seeing this gentleman, this white gentleman who's in a wheelchair. And then that's when I also discovered now, since I've healed, that I was also now starting to see things that are not there. I kept on shouting. I remember, so I had my one hand handcuffed by the nurse, right? And then I saw this other gentleman, a white gentleman in a wheelchair, coming close to me and telling me that I want to walk, help me walk. And there was I was screaming, you can walk, you can walk, you can walk. I kept on shouting, you can walk, stand up, you can't be in a wheelchair, you can walk. And I realized now that I was actually speaking to myself, but I was sick at that time. And then kept on shouting and being unruly, and the nurses came. The next minute, I'm handcuffed, 2 hands. While I'm still focusing on that, I'm now handcuffed also my legs, because I was now shouting a lot. And I kept on shouting and talking too much and fighting and saying, leave me alone. Then I had to be sedated so that I can be able to sleep, because I was now shouting a lot and being unruly a lot. That was the first day. Didn't get any better, because I wasn't getting any better. That time I was in a very, very dark space. I know I laugh about this now because I've healed, but I was in a very dark space. I kept on crying a lot. I didn't understand what was happening. I was sedated. When you are sedated, everything is in slow motion. So even when my parents kept on coming to visit, they could tell that I wasn't getting any better. Then I had to be moved to a different ward. The ward that I was moved to, I met other people, and then other people, they told me that you are supposed to keep quiet, because when you talk too much, you'll stay there for a very long time. Because they also told me their experiences that they had experienced when they got crazy. I remember this other colored lady who told me, I've been crazy for a very long time. I'm tired of coming in and out of hospitals. So now I just want to keep quiet and not talk too much. And then I wasn't getting better also in that ward that I was taken to. Then I had to be taken to that other ward. So this ward that I was taken to, next to me was a Zambian guy who was very God-fearing. He always had the Bible, and he always had a cloth, which we call it a vaslap, that he would tie it in his head. I don't know for what. And then he was always in a gown, and he always spoke about God, how that God loves us, Jesus this, Jesus that. And then there was also that other guy who was an Indian guy who barely spoke in that ward. And then there was me. So we didn't have lots of people in that ward. So there was this particular event that when I recall of it, it's very painful. The day I almost died there at that hospital, I was lying in bed, peacefully so. As I lied in bed, relaxing, this Indian guy who was actually at that other end, because we had 3 beds, so there were 3 beds here, 3 beds on that other side. So that Indian guy was sleeping on that other side. So that Indian guy suddenly woke up from his bed and quickly rushed to my bed and didn't waste any time and climbed on top of me and then started strangling me. So when he kept on strangling me, I started pushing him, but he overpowered me because he had more strength than me. To a point whereby I was now losing breath. I thought I was gonna die. Fortunately, there was this Zambian guy who had actually laid next to me. And I'm glad that because the Zambian guy saw that it got so bad, then the Zambian guy came and actually took that Indian guy away from me. And I was glad that I survived. I almost died. I also recall these days where I would actually be crying a lot umuntu bekakhala. I don't know ukuthi bengikhalelani, but I used to cry a lot. To open up a bite, there was this other male nurse who's chappy who came, because it had happened that when that chappy nurse was on shift yesterday, he left me. I was sedated and I was crying. He comes back for his shift, I'm still crying. So he was fed up, he didn't know what to do. I remember how that he came to me and then just gave me a punch and said, just keep quiet. And then I felt myself keeping quiet. And it was at that time when I kept quiet, a lot of memories came back to me to say what was happening at that point in time. And then things got so bad, I was then taken to Stikfontein. That's where the mental breakdown got so bad. When I got to Stikfontein, it was so bad because all I knew was to cry. I kept on crying. I remember how I would be ill-treated by other patients there in the ward. This other time, I was carrying my bread and then they took the bread. Another one was passing the bread to the other. Another one was passing the bread to the other. It was all of those, and it was so bad that I couldn't even be allowed to actually sleep in other dorms with other people. And then I was in that small dome where it had just a small window, and it was so bad. I used to cry a lot. I used to ask my questions, what's really happening? Life at Stikfontein is not nice. It's like a prison at some point, because what you do there is to wake up, eat, sleep, wake up, eat, sleep. That's basically what we did. We wake up at 7 a.m. We take a shower with cold water. And then after we've taken a shower with cold water, we wear that uniform that is blue with the sign, navy blue of Stikfontein. We stand in a line, and then after staying in a line, we do that short prayer. That short prayer, we enter, we eat. In the mornings, we used to eat your porridge, your amabele, your boiled eggs, your oats at times, and just that 2 slices, that's it. And then we are done. We're going to be having lunch again at 12 o'clock. The line again, we say the prayer again, we enter there. It's either we're going to eat mealie rice or we are going to eat pap and beetroot. And the thing about food there, they only boil them. So there's no nice food that are delicious, that are having spices and 6 gun and everything. No, you just eat what you have to eat and that's it. And then by 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, we are given bananas or oranges. And then at 6 we eat again. Depends what we are eating, chicken, rice or whatever, and then we go and sleep. At 8, 9 we take our meds, we go and sleep over and over again. Mind you, we're closed in this place. You can't go outside, you can't do much. I'm busy hearing other sad stories of other people. So it got to a point of when I was getting held, I got depressed, because now I'm in this one place. We are doing the same thing over and over again. It's confined, it's small. I got depressed. But then within that process, there was this other nurse, a male white nurse, whose name is Staff Mike, who got close to me and made me heal quicker, because he used to talk to me and say, you need to learn to talk about things that are hurting you. You need to forgive these things that happened. And he said to me, it is unfortunate that your mother was bipolar, and bipolar also fell to you. And the painful thing about you is that not only was it bipolar, but now you had what we call schizoaffective, which is basically a combination of bipolar. Bipolar is you having moods whereby you're not supposed to be too happy and too sad. And schizophrenia is you seeing things are not there. I might be sitting here and seeing a cat out of a sudden while it's not there. So I had both of them. It's bipolar and schizophrenia, schizoaffective combined all together. So when you have that, you are seeing things that are not there, you are behaving abnormal, you are always angry. So that was what was happening. And he also helped me with accepting the mental illness, and also made me realize that it's not the end of the world, because he used to motivate me a lot. He used to come with his small phone and would play videos for me. I would watch things, but then still I missed home. I missed seeing my mother. You know, you will miss that home cooked meal. and then a leave of absence was then introduced, whereby I had to go home to just spend the weekend with my mother and the family, and then I would come back. And then it happened that I was now improving well. Then I was taken to this other ward, which is called Independent Living Unit. At Independent Living Unit, you don't have to wear the hospital uniform. You just wear your normal clothes. You're allowed to use your phone. You can walk around the hospital. I got involved in this other business whereby you would actually go around in wards and selling sweets and snacks. As I went to wards, there was this particular ward that broke my heart, where I saw women who were older than my mother, who can be mothers to me, also grandmothers to me, and I could tell that they lost it. Have you ever looked at someone and you see there's no hope here? This person is going to just be here for a very long time. Even the way they would talk small, the way they were even dressed, the things they were doing, it was so disheartening when I saw those people. So I finally came out. When I came out, I was fat. I recall people when they would see me, they're like, Spamandla, is this you? I mean, I was a skinny guy. Now I'm skinny, now I come back, I'm fat. And I have to answer this question, what's happening to you? Where have you been? And it's accepting that. So I also suffered from accepting that I'm now like this fat, chubby person that I used to be. And then I had to fight. I recall that I had to tell myself that I am not what I am now. I can actually decide to be what I want to be. I started taking care of myself. I started running. I started exercising. I recall I got a job at a warehouse, which was an exercise on its own because we would carry boxes and all that. Then I gradually lost weight and came back to my own weight. When I actually reflect on my journey, what actually made me have this mental breakdown is sabotaging myself, whereby I never sat down with Spamandla and actually told Spamandla, you are amazing, Spamandla, you are incredible, Spamandla, you are handsome, Spamandla, you deserve all the nice things in life. So I never complimented Spamandla. I was always ready to tell Spamandla, you are better, Spamandla, you are all the negative things you can think of. So that's one of the things that I learned. And life is precious, man. I'm thinking to myself, if I died when that Indian guy came and strangled me, where would I be? I mean, I'm achieving great things now. I'm in the process of writing the book called Escaped Madness, where I'll be speaking about this experience. I recall it took me time to even be able to talk about this because there would be flashbacks that kept on coming to me, and that made my heart to be disheartened and made me to be hurt. But I discovered that the more you talk is the more you heal, and the more you talk is the more you reach that full healing process. Another thing that I learned on this journey is that self-confidence is key, and you loving yourself, you appreciating yourself is key. Another thing that breaks my heart when I think about it, that actually became the main reason that I had a breakdown, was that I was naturally a smart student. Because I was a smart student, I wasn't exposed to failure. So I couldn't take failure well. I didn't understand that this is life. Sometimes you fall and sometimes things don't go well. Sometimes you plan that you're going to do 1, 2, and 3, then it fails and it's normal. So failure to me, instead of it being a learning curve to do better, I used to beat myself up and say, Spamandla, you can do better. What is it that you did? So because of that, me not being able to take failure well, that is what made me sick. I just matriculated 2013 with high colors. It happened that there was this particular bursary that I was expecting to get, which is called Vincent Chabalala bursary scheme, that normally awards people who are from local townships. I thought I was going to be awarded that. I wasn't. Then I didn't take that well. I got accepted at VETS. VETS is the most prestigious university in Africa. You don't just get accepted there, they look at your academics very well. So instead of me embracing such an opportunity to even be afforded a chance to be enrolled at such a university as Wits, I started comparing myself with other guys. Look at this one wears nice than me, this one has a better gadget than me. And then when I kept on doing that, I was sabotaging myself, and then I was actually resenting myself, not appreciating that opportunity. The advice I would give is that most people who've got mental illness, your chronic diseases, doesn't matter whether it be HIV, whatever the case might be, never fall into the scam of leaving your medication. Even if you can see that you're coping well, everything is up to date, never leave your medication. Just take it as that sweet that you have to take all the time, and then you keep it moving. I mean, we are all crazy people. It's just that we are crazy in different levels. Funny, when people would say I'm crazy, I would get triggered. But now, when someone tells me that I'm crazy, I'm excited because I understand what being crazy means.